Welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome back, everybody. We are back. Welcome to the Ice Guys, Saturday, December 27th. Ian Cameron and filling in for Alex B. Smith today once again on a Saturday, as he did last week. Terry Edelman is back, and we're ready to break down the Saturday NHL card. Hope everyone enjoyed their Christmas. Merry Christmas. Hopefully it was a Merry Christmas for all of our viewers and listeners, spending it with family and friends. I feel a little bit more refreshed. It was nice to just get a little break in the action, at least from an NHL standpoint, for the last couple of days. But we're ready to get back into it here in the Saturday NHL card. And I know we have a decent amount of our viewing and listening audience that aren't in love with the recap segment to begin each show, where they say, come on, just get to the games. Just get to the games, and, you know, we don't want to recap what happened. Well, you're in luck. No recap segment today. We don't do a recap segment when we've had multiple days off. So you're in luck. For those of you that don't love the recap, that always say just get to the games, you're in luck. We are just going to get to the games today. Before we get to that first game, though, I will say that one thing about today. I've seen a lot of odd results. I've seen a lot of bizarre things and, you know, bizarre results, really, coming out of the Christmas break and the Christmas pause in years past. So I'm just a caution. You know, you could take the advice or not. It's up to you. Lower units and lower amounts with your wagers today is not the worst thing in the world, in my opinion, because there's going to be a lot of, like I say, a lot more randomness potentially, a lot more variance potentially here as far as this first day coming out of the Christmas break. So, like I said, I think definitely when you look at this slate, you know, every team kind of has a different performance pattern, if you will, coming out of not an extended break. Like, it's only been, 3 days, but nevertheless, like I said, this is not the worst idea in the world to just, you could, I've still got a good amount of bets, but what I'm trying to say is a lot of the bets are small today for me. It's just because of that element of a little more variance, randomness in some of the results we might see here on this Saturday slate and this first NHL slate following the Christmas break. So let's get into it. We will begin with the New York Rangers and the New York Islanders Battle of New York. We've got pretty much even money here, minus 110 both sides, 5.5 the total in this game. So initially I had the Rangers circled. I still lean Rangers, and I've kind of talked myself out of it here in this game. I don't want the Islanders. That much I can tell you. They didn't play great going into the break. Now, there is some good news for the Islanders, and it's big news. Looks like Bo Horvat back for the New York Islanders here tonight, and certainly happy to have him back for a team that we saw their offensive production kind of dissipate and decline a little bit going into the break. So that's a big boost to the lineup for the New York Islanders for sure. Still without Ethan Bear, still without Kyle Palmieri, Alexander Romanov. They just placed Ilya Sorokin on the injured reserve list, and that's not something you want to see if you're the New York Islanders, because so much of your season and your success to this point, being one of the pleasant surprises this year in the NHL, has been because of the performance in net of Ilya Sorokin. So they basically called up Marcus Hogberg from the American Hockey League, and I've seen enough of him at the NHL level to know less is more when it comes to that guy in between the pipes. So really, with Sorokin on IR, this is going to be David Rittich's net for the foreseeable future, unless, of course, it's back-to-back, and they'll probably have to throw, Hogberg in there for one of the games. But it will be David Rittich here for the Islanders, and he has had, look, for his standards, a better season. No question about that. This is a guy that's, bounced around from team to team, 33 years old now, journeyman goalie. But his numbers this year are solid overall. 8-3-2, 2.42 goals against average, 913 save percentage. So, for David Rittich, that's pretty solid when it's all said and done. Igor Shesterkin will get the start in net here for the Rangers in this one. Like I said, I ended up talking myself out of the Rangers. I lean Rangers, but now Horvat's back. It's a boost for this Islanders team. The one thing that drew me here to the Rangers initially was the fact they just got embarrassed earlier this year by the Islanders. Islanders just kicked their ass in the previous regular season meeting. And I think the Rangers maybe have this spot circled because of that. And look, let's give the Rangers credit. Started to string some wins together before the Christmas break, started to finally get some goal scoring going before the Christmas break as well. So lean Rangers. At the end of the day, though, I didn't pull the trigger. Terry, what do you think here? Rangers, Islanders.
Yeah, the Battle of New York here in this one. The Rangers had won 5 in a row against the Islanders, but then the Islanders got that revenge earlier on in the season. Now it's the first game after the break, and this one's tough, in my opinion. And I just wanted to say that Riddick is expected to start tomorrow on the back-to-back as well.
So they're going to play in both games. Wow.
Back-to-back. So that's something to keep in mind tomorrow against Columbus. Here in this one, I kind of like you. I kind of lean towards the Rangers, but I don't want to take them here in this spot. And then player prop wise, there's just not a lot. Basically, Anders Lee and Matthew Barzal for the Islanders have been the most consistent recently. Anders Lee point plus 110 and Barzal assist plus 110. Those would be the only two props I would look at in this game, but much better games that I like on the slate later on.
Yeah, you and I both. I mean, like I said, this one's a little bit. I don't hate the draw look. There's a lot of people in our YouTube chat liking this draw. I don't mind that. I certainly there's potential for that. They could become the Thailanders today. That is for sure. All right, Minnesota and Winnipeg next up. A little Central Division battle here. Minnesota minus 115 road favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. Minnesota started with that red hot streak post Quinn Hughes trade, but dropped their last 2 games following entering the Christmas break. Of course, they got pounded pretty good by the Colorado Avalanche last week at home. And then, of course, they enter the break with a pretty disappointing loss to Nashville in overtime by a score of 3-2. We'll see if they can bounce back. Minnesota here against the Winnipeg Jets. Again, this is one like I talked about with the second game, and it goes part and parcel with me, treading a little bit more cautiously today. Kind of talked myself out of Minnesota here. Initially leaned Minnesota, 2 losses going into the break, coming out of the break with a purpose here against this Winnipeg Jets team. And Winnipeg's really in a bad way right now. They limped going into the break. There's a terrible loss for them against Utah in that final game before the break. 3-game losing streak for the Jets. Not even Connor Hellebuck has been able to, rescue this team and get them on a hot streak because, when you look at this Winnipeg team, there's been breakdowns defensively. Connor Hellebuck has been okay, but not great in a couple of these recent starts. But it's been a rough go. 4 straight losses for the Jets entering the Christmas break. They're 1-7 in their last 8 games. Obviously, Minnesota lost their last 2 going into the break, but they were red hot before that. Certainly, Minnesota, this price looks cheap to support still what we think is the better team. And Winnipeg hasn't even been all that special at home this year. 8-8. They're a 500 team at Canada Life Center. Minnesota not as good on the road as they've been at home, but they're still a winning team on the road, 9-7 on the season. So they actually have 1 more road win, Minnesota, than Winnipeg has home wins. So all of this, I was initially leaning Minnesota, but here's the thing. A team like Winnipeg that had bold aspirations coming into bold compared to where they're at in the standings right now. They at least expected to be a playoff team, and now that's in jeopardy. And if they're going to turn shit around, it's got to start here. It's got to start in the division, in big-time division games against teams that are ahead of you in the standings. So this is supposed to be a Winnipeg desperation sense of urgency spot. It's supposed to be. Doesn't mean they're going to win, but it's supposed to be this kind of spot here for the Winnipeg Jets. So that's enough to talk me out of Minnesota. I certainly would only back the Wild here. I want no part of the Jets until I see for myself that they can turn things around, put a good performance out there on the ice against this Wild team. But until that happens, I'm not interested in backing them. So it's a lean Minnesota here. It looks like Connor Hellebuck and Philip Gustafsson will be your starting goaltenders. You know what's incredible for these two teams? Other than Damon Hunt for Minnesota, there's not a nary a person on the injury report right now for both of these teams. These are very, very healthy hockey teams right now, which is unheard of, really, for most teams here at the end of December. coming out of the Christmas break. So this is another one where if you like the draw, I don't hate it. We did see an overtime game. I believe the game in Minnesota between these teams went to overtime. Winnipeg won that game. Minnesota returned the favor, shutting out Winnipeg 3-0, the last time they played here. So it's Wild or pass. I ultimately passed. Terry, what do you think here? Wild Jets.
Yeah, I haven't seen. I'm kind of seeing that it could be Wallstedt in that. There's been no confirmation yet.
No, that's true.
So that's obviously something to keep an eye on here. Hellebuck is likely in this spot.
Yeah.
And that doesn't scare me. Connor Hellebuck doesn't scare me. Since he's returned, the Jets have lost 5 of their last 6 games. So everybody that was saying the Jets are losing because we didn't have Hellebuck, that's what a lot of Jets fans were saying, and the kind of media was looking at it that way, that the Jets losing streak was because of Hellebuck. It really wasn't. In my opinion, this Jets team is just not that good this year. I think they had a great year last year. I think they overachieved last year. I think we're seeing the real Winnipeg Jets. The Wild should not be minus 115 against the Winnipeg Jets in this spot. Give me Wild money line. We've seen this. And I mentioned, again, when the Wild played Nashville when they were minus 180, I said that's going to go to overtime. Unfortunately, Matt had the Wild and Reg, and I said it's going to go to overtime. That's just what happens between those two teams. I should have been on the draw. Wasn't, but yeah, some people definitely messaged me and said thanks for the draw. So at least some people did tail on the draw play on that. But I think this is a smash spot for the Wild. I think they win this game by multiple goals. Yes, Winnipeg has owned them, but the Wild won 3-0 in Winnipeg earlier this year. The Wild 6-2 in their last 8 games after the Christmas break. They've tended to come out strong after the Christmas break, and the Jets have lost 4 in a row after a Christmas break. I think after losing the final 2 games heading into the break, I think the Wild are ready to go here and angry, and I think they take it to the Jets here. Give me Wild money line.
I can't accuse Terry of being a homer because, like I said, I lean Wild too. I'm not probably going to bet it, but like I said, I could only look in that direction. I've got to see something from Winnipeg here before I believe it. But like I said, interesting. Yeah, it is 9-1 for the Jets in the last 10 meetings. But the only win for Minnesota was the last time they played Winnipeg here in Winnipeg when they won 3-0. So maybe
the Jets just can't score. And I'm not blaming Hellebuck. I should mention that because I see some comments in the chat. Hellebuck hasn't been losing these games for the Jets. No. They just can't score.
No.
And then you look at the firepower the Wild have. I like the Wild here.
You know what the problem is too? I'm looking at some of their defensemen too. They need better from a lot of them right now. Winnipeg, that is. Josh Morris, he's doing everything he can. I can't say too many bad things about Pionk. That guy plays with a heart on his sleeve every night. We saw it in the playoffs last year. But, I think, Luke Schenn just doesn't skate well. Logan Stanley takes too many bad penalties. He's physical, but he takes too many bad penalties, and you can beat him with speed. I don't think Sandberg and DeMello have been nearly as good this year for the Jets after what we saw from them last year. So I put a lot of this blame on the blue line as well. Up front, they need more offense. They need something more from the third and the fourth line too. They just don't consistently. Tanner Pearson, has just gone ghost on this Jets team. Gus Nyquist looks like he's washed up to me. Jonathan, I don't want to be harsh or mean because Jonathan Taves is an incredible human being, incredible player, incredible leader. He's shot. He's done. We can't sugarcoat it, okay? He's got no offensive game to him anymore. He's really a face-off guy. That's what he is for this win. He's a guy that wins key face-offs. His skating speed is not there. He can't score goals anymore. He can't finish around the net. The W word is harsh. I hate to use the washed word, but yeah.
Nyquist is.
Yeah.
Gustav Nyquist has been for a few years. I was shocked that the Jets signed
When you look at the roster, it's like they've got a bunch of people that are just taking up space, taking up hot air on this Jets team. And that's a big reason why they've had these struggles and these kind of issues. Nyquist, nothing. Perfetti's ice cold, too. That's another problem. Perfetti can't be ice cold. This is a guy they're counting on for 20, 30 goals for the Winnipeg Jets, and you're not getting that from him right now. So this roster looks poorly constructed. Cheveldayoff is getting all kinds of heat right now in Winnipeg, and it's hard to blame the Jets fans for feeling that way This has been a poorly constructed roster this year, especially with the expectations being so high after winning the President's Trophy last year, getting to the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Like I said, it's too many issues for me to back Winnipeg right now. Wilder pass. Terry is betting Minnesota here. All right, Tampa Bay, Florida. We've got Tampa Bay minus 115 road favorites, 6 the total here in this game. We're finally involved here. You know, wishy-washy I was on the first 2 games. We finally got a little something here. I like over the total. I was able to grab 5.5 here, minus 130 with the Lightning and the Panthers over. I think I cashed an over the last time these teams played when Florida beat Tampa 5-2. And we talked about it that day. This is a banged-up Tampa blue line. I don't think anybody's back. You know, we'll know a little bit more. We should know. At least I've been refreshing the news and the lineup pages here for a while, but nobody's back. Chernak's still out. Hedman's still out. Lilleberg's still out for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Ryan McDonough is back out again. They just got him back. He's out again for the Tampa Bay Lightning. So they are right back to 4 starting defensemen out. And you know what that means in your own zone. It means you just don't defend as well. You've got a bunch of players playing in elevated minutes that maybe they're not, familiar with, accustomed to, comfortable with. I love the way Darren Radish is playing, no doubt. But look at the rest of this blue line tonight. J.J. Moser on a top pair. He's, a young defenseman that's got some promise, but I'm not ready to put him in the top pair. Declan Carlisle, Charles-Edouard Dastou, Steve Santini, and Max Crozier. That's pretty thin. That's pretty damn thin on the back end right now for this Tampa Bay Lightning team. So like I said, there are all kinds of problems right now with the health of this blue line. And, Florida lit up this shorthanded Tampa Bay defense and blue line the last time they played them. Now, the good news is they're healthy up front, the Tampa Bay Lightning, and we'll have to wait and see how this goes. But I've been hearing conflicting reports about Brandon Hagel. I think he's back tonight. I think I saw that he's returning tonight for the Tampa Bay Lightning. I know some still have him listed on the IR, but I thought I read that he might be back tonight for Tampa Bay, which means if that's the case, they've finally got a fully healthy forward group here tonight for this game. So, like I said, if that's the case, obviously it's a big boost. Hagel's had a terrific season for the Tampa Bay Lightning. 18 goals, 13 assists. For Hagel in just 32 games. So he's been rolling along at basically a point per game so far this season for the Lightning. So again, Tampa's defense is vulnerable right now. Florida has scored. How about Florida scoring 4 goals or more in 7 of their last 10 games? You want to know why they're 8-2 going into the Christmas break? The offense is revved up. Marchand, Lusterinen, Kuhlman, Lundell, obviously, Bennett and Reinhart have really gotten it rolling here the last few games as well for the Florida Panthers. So their offense is heating up, 8-2 in their last 10. They've scored 4+ in 7 of those 10 games. And I think they score goals tonight with this Tampa Bay team banged up. Looks like Hagel's out. Okay, so he's not back just yet. That being said, I think Tampa can score too. The one thing for Florida is they've been giving up goals more this year than we've seen. Bobrovsky's got okay numbers, but not great. And this total sitting at 5.5 just felt light to me. So 5.5, I like this game over the total here. Lightning and Panthers. I kind of lean Florida here because this really does look cheap. I mean, we've got Tampa, a slight road favorite here in Florida. Gosh, I'm tempted by this Panthers. I probably will have Florida. This is probably one I will bet. It just looks very cheap on Florida when you factor in that Tampa's still without 4 starting defensemen for this game. But I like the over most of all with this Battle of Florida. Not to mention every time these teams play, we saw it in the last meeting too. They get after it, scrums after the whistle, animosity, nastiness, physicality. Tempers get flared. Penalties get doled out, and more penalties means more power plays, and more power plays means more goal-scoring opportunities. Ultimately could mean more goals, which is good for anyone looking toward an over here. Terry, what do you think here? Battle of Florida.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think this is going to be a higher scoring game. I think it's either going to go one of 2 ways. Either you're going to get like a 4-4 type draw type game, or we're going to get like a 6-2 Panthers kind of type win. So I'm not sure on the side. I haven't really decided. I think it could go either way. We're going to get the draw, or I think the Panthers could take care of business. But I do like the over, like you said, at 6. I think we're going to get some penalties. These two teams do not like each other. Now, a lot of teams that play each other on today's slate don't like each other, which is great. If you like betting overs or if you like player props, because penalties are always great. So I lean with the over with you. I think it's going to be a high-scoring one. And then the side, I'm really torn. I think I should probably sprinkle a little bit on the draw and a little bit on Panthers puck line and try to make a profit there.
Like I said, definitely. Like I said, it would be Florida. I'm gonna bet. This is a price play to me. Florida minus 105 in their form right now. It's a little disrespectful, quite honestly. They're with the way they've been playing, obviously going into the break. Now, there's always that internal battle, right? Because sometimes I mentioned this in the NFL, a bye week sometimes for a team that's been winning going into the bye week, I don't like it, and it throws off rhythm. Whereas a team that's been losing going into their bye week in the NFL, sometimes I like to bet on them coming out of the bye week. You reset, you refocus, and you usually, it's not always, but often teams in that situation come out of the gate strong. This could be one of these deals where the break stunts Florida's momentum a little bit with just how well they've been playing. And the comeback win against Carolina twice that they had. The comeback win, they also had another impressive win there too, right before the break. But the two that they had against Carolina, where they came back to beat the Panthers in those two games. They beat Tampa on the road. They beat LA at home. They beat Dallas on, they were really playing good hockey. You sometimes do worry that the break comes at a bad time, for those teams that were rolling going into the break. So that's why I'm keeping the Florida bet small, but it is Florida for me. I like the over most of all, as I mentioned. All right, as far as props for this game, because this is the first game on the card where I really did get involved with player props a little bit more. Here, although I did sprinkle on, I should have mentioned, I did Ryan Hartman one more time. Why not, for the Minnesota Wild and the Winnipeg, Minnesota game. This game, maybe look toward Bjorkstrand. Lundell has always been someone we've targeted of late. Darren Radish is not. Darren Radish has scored in 4 of the last 10 games, and you can still bet plus 550 for him to score a goal. Like, he is ripping. He is ripping that puck from the blue line. He is shooting a lot as well for this team. Not the worst idea in the world. Here's another shooting defenseman. 3 of the last 10 he's scored for the Panthers on the blue line. Seth Jones, who's had Paul Maurice keeps waxing poetic, singing the praises of Seth Jones, and I can see why. He has given them some really good minutes this year. So like I said, definitely something to keep in mind as far as a couple of props there with value on a couple of defensemen that are shooting the puck quite a bit and are finding the back of the net as well. All right, Boston, Buffalo. We've got Buffalo minus 130, home favorites, 6 the total here in this game. This is another one. We just talked about it with the Florida Panthers. Couldn't be playing any better going into the break, 8-2. How about the Buffalo Sabres? And I cashed a ticket with them right before the break. I was more than a little bit surprised they were plus 140 underdogs against Ottawa in that game, and they ended up winning 3-2 in overtime. Their 7th straight win for the Sabres going into the break. But does the break disrupt their rhythm? Does the break disrupt their momentum just a little bit? That's the concern. And now we're at laying minus 130 with Buffalo, right? A lot of these games where they've been winning lately, they've been getting plus prices. They've only been favored they've actually been favored in more of them than you'd think. The Flyer game, the Islander game, Seattle, even money against Vancouver. But now you're laying a minus 140 price here. And Rasmus Dahlin. This Rasmus Dahlin thing is bizarre. Like, he's not with the team because he's back in Sweden spending the holiday with his fiance. It's weird. I know they've had family things going on, but just a little strange to see that. But nevertheless, he's out for the Buffalo Sabres tonight. So obviously, when you look at the blue line, there's going to be some shakeup tonight to it. For Lindy Ruff without his captain, his number 1 defenseman. It looks like Matthias Samuelsson and Bo Byram are going to be the top pair. I got the power. Owen Power and Michael Kesselring on the second pair. Jacob Bryson. And they called up Ryan Johnson, but it looks like Zach Metza is going to get the spot on that third pair with Jacob Bryson here tonight for the Buffalo Sabres. Still no Kulik, still no Zucker for the Buffalo Sabres. But other than that, looks like the forward group intact. As what we saw going into the break. Boston, not playing good hockey going into the Christmas break. Obviously, that was a debacle against Montreal right before the break, getting blasted there 6-2 by the Montreal Canadiens in that game, as Jacob Fowler Boston College alum. We talked about it going back to play close to where he played his college hockey there in Boston at the TD Garden. Got the win for the Montreal Canadiens over the Boston Bruins in that game. Bruins, and hey, look who's here, Jimmy Murphy. Good to see you. Yeah, I read. That's a great point, Jimmy. Excellent. Yeah, I saw that too. Delay for the Boston Bruin flight into Buffalo for this game. Could not have a game day skate. So that's you always worry about creatures of habit. These NHL players, NHL teams. You have that morning skate to just it's a routine, right? It's a process to get you ready to play at night later in the day, and you don't have that game day skate. All of a sudden, you worry. Does it impact your performance a little bit going into this game? So something that remains to be seen. Yeah, you're thinking what I'm thinking now after seeing that, Jonathan. Sabres first goal, first period, plus 105. That's a market that has been terrific for me from a betting standpoint. How many first goal of the first period bets have we cashed over the last 3 weeks, month? I've lost track. It's been so good, attacking that market. And it might be worth it to look to Buffalo to get on the board early with those Bruin concerns, obviously, coming out of with the flight delay, and they're not playing good hockey. And Jimmy Murphy was all over it in the offseason, telling me and everyone that would listen that the Boston Bruins, he didn't think were going to be a very good defensive team this year. Now, there were times that, they actually played okay defensively earlier in the year. That has not been the case lately. In the last 3 losses during that losing streak going into the break, they gave up 17 goals in the last 3 games combined to the Vancouver Canucks, Ottawa Senators, and Montreal Canadiens. Not good, as far as the defensive end of the ice is concerned here. So, yeah, I think that's a good angle. The Sabres' first goal of the first period. I leaned Buffalo initially. Darlene news. I don't love the price at minus 130. I'm certainly not betting against a team that's on a 7-game win streak. No chance I'm doing, especially with Boston, who are not playing well right now. I just don't love the price enough to bet Buffalo. Lean Buffalo. I think the best way to bet Buffalo here is that first goal, first period look. I think that makes sense. Maybe they jump on Boston early with the disruption of the late arrival into Buffalo with the flight issues. What do you think here, Terry? Bruins, Sabres.
Yeah, I like the Sabres. I like the over here. I think this is another obviously divisional battle here. I think with the Bruins obviously not having that morning skate, I think that just helps things here. I think they might be a little bit out of sorts at the beginning. Not having Darlene will hurt you offensively and defensively, but I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. But my favorite play here in this one is Ryan McLeod over half a point, which I got for a plus 120. He has a point in 6 of his last 7 games heading into the break. And that's why Buffalo is having so much success, is because they're getting offense from that third line, Benson, McLeod, and Quinn. So McLeod point, plus 120, great odds there. He's going to have good defensive matchups playing against the Bruins. The Bruins are allowing a ton of goals. That's my favorite play here is Ryan McLeod, over half a point, plus 120.
Good stuff indeed. I do want to mention one thing, too, about this game. You mentioned the over. My first thought, too, is with the way the Bruins have been defending lately or struggling defensively right now, I was like, how do you not bet this over? But then, by the way, what kind of got me, to pump the brakes a little bit on the over was the starter in net for Buffalo tonight. It's UPL. It's Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, Pick-to-Pack of Pickle Peppers. This guy, he has been mediocre at best. I would say not very good on the road. Look at his numbers at home, though. And the great scribe of the Buffalo Sabres, Mike Harrington, has done a great job for years covering the Buffalo Sabres. He posted UPL's numbers at home this year. It's like he's George Vezina at home. Marty Brodeur, Patrick Waugh, 4-1, 1.96 goals against average for UPL at home. And I think it was a .930 save percentage. Like, he's been, for some reason, he has been just phenomenal. UPL in the home starts with him for the Buffalo Sabres this season on home ice. And he's going to get the nod here for the Sabres tonight in this game. So he's got a big home road split thing going on right now. UPL. Yeah, 4-1, 1.97 goals against, .921 save percentage. So he's got a sub 2 goals against average on home ice this year, UPL. So And I've noticed it too, because there have been times I've been on a couple Buffalo overs at home, and he's been in net, and it hasn't gone over because this guy's been so good. So it's been crazy to see how well he's played at home in net for the Sabres. We're going to see him in net tonight for them in this game. Should be Swayman for Boston, although it's not confirmed yet on their side, but I would expect that to be the case. All right, next up, we've got the Detroit Red Wings and Carolina Hurricanes. Carolina minus 180, home favorites, 6 the total here in this game. So here's my plan here. I'm sprinkling on Detroit money line and team total over split pregame. Just a small sprinkle. If Carolina gets the lead, which they very well could, because starting games has not been the problem for Carolina. I think if you like Carolina, you take the first period puck line, because their issue has not been starting. It's been finishing going into the break. They got off to a hot start against Florida before the break, the last game. They got off to a great start against Tampa in the game, another game they blew right before the break. Their starts have been great. Their first periods have been great, but their finishes have been a train wreck, a disaster, absolutely atrocious. So when I look at this Detroit-Carolina game, like I said, Carolina, if you like them, bet them early. They got to show it to me now. It's one thing to do it once, blow a lead like they did in Florida. It's one thing to even do it a second time because it's back-to-back after a crushing loss against Tampa. But for you to have those days off, play Florida again, same team you blew a lead to just days earlier, and you do the same shit again and just totally collapse in the third period, you've got all kinds of problems right now if you're Carolina defensively. Jordan Stahl's trying to, I think, talk himself into some sort of, voodoo thinking here that, hey, we got the break. I got to refocus with family and with friends now, and now it's going to get us back, and now we can really focus on getting the job done and playing the way we need to. Yeah, because having a nice turkey dinner with the family is just all of a sudden, I'm going to find the magic formula to defend leads all of a sudden in the third period. That's just a bunch of word salad to me. Captain trying to, pump up the team and trying to make it sound good. But right now, like I said, it's a situation right now where Carolina's not trustworthy in my mind. And if you're going to continue to price Carolina like this in every home game, you got to be doing it when they're playing like Carolina's capable of. And Carolina could flip the switch and win 5-1 tonight. It's possible. This is still a really good hockey team. This is still a team that went fully healthy, which they aren't right now, by the way. And that's another component to why I'm looking at the Detroit side here. You've got Slavin out again, which is a huge loss. And we see they're not defending as well without that guy, nor should they defend as well without him. He's that good defensively in all situations. One of the best penalty killers in the NHL as well. And now you got Seth Jarvis on IR. You got Jordan Martin, who looks like he's going to play. Will Carrier, though, Keandre Miller, Nikishin, all of these guys, banged up. All of them, last I checked, game time decisions for tonight against the Detroit Red Wings. Like I said, it's just there's too many issues going on right now with Carolina. Too many injuries, too many issues with not holding leads. That I'm going to dabble pregame with Detroit plus 150 and Detroit team total over 2.5 minus 125. Bussy will be in net, but Bussy was in net for one of the games they blew against Florida. So this isn't just a Freddie Anderson issue. Now, it happened with Freddie Anderson, and I wasn't shocked by that against Florida, but this is a team issue right now. And then you counter that to Detroit. They're playing with great confidence right now. John Gibson has been outstanding of late for them in net. I think he's on like a 6 or 7 start win streak going into this game tonight. Now, I don't have confirmation he's in yet, but I'd be absolutely stunned if Todd McClellan does not start John Gibson here tonight in this game. So I just think it's an overpriced favorite, given the injuries and given their issues holding leads right now. It's really that simple. So Red Wings will do the money line team total over split small right now, 8-0 in December, says Jonathan for Gibson. And my plan of attack is small bets pregame, but if Carolina goes up early in this game, which they might, I'll live bet Detroit for a bigger amount, knowing that this team's had issues just coughing up leads left and right later in the game. It gets in your psyche, man. Sometimes it's not easy to just, stop it from happening. Sometimes you need to go through this multiple times before it stops. So like I said, if at any point Carolina's leading, we'll probably take a look at Detroit here at some point as far as a live bet at a better plus price, knowing Carolina's got those yips right now with the lead. Clearly, to do this 3 in a row, blowing these leads, Like I said, that's concerning. And now it's a matter of trust. It's Billy Joel time. It's a matter of trust. It's a matter of trust right now. And I'm losing that trust right now with the Carolina Hurricanes. Terry, what do you think here? Red Wings, Canes.
Yeah, this is a really tricky game from a side perspective. I can make a case for both sides. So Detroit,
I can too. Like if Carolina whitewashes Detroit, it would not shock me. They're a good team still. Maybe this is the kick in the ass they need, that it's happened 3 times. But we're talking about making a case for one team at plus 150 based on what you've seen, and one team at minus 180 based on what you've seen. Big friggin' difference.
Yeah, exactly. And I just, looking at this game here, Carolina not in great form heading into the break. Detroit was, obviously, with Gibson playing so well. Now we're heading out of the break. Detroit has lost 7 of their last 8 games after Christmas. 6 of those 7 going over 6.5. So we tend to see really high scoring games. Carolina's won 6 of the last 7 meetings between these two teams. So historical trends say Carolina in this one. But I don't like what I've seen from Carolina. I don't like that they're minus 180 favorites here. For me, my price range is minus 130, minus 135. So I would have to look at Carolina in regulation or on the puck line here in this one, which I don't want to do against Detroit with how they're playing right now. So sadly, I'm passing on this one because I think it's a really tricky game from a side perspective. And then I didn't really like anything prop-wise. Mort Seider, over half a point would be my lean here. He's minus 110 for a point, has won in 4 of his last 5 games. 3 of those games, multiple point games. So Mort Seider is on fire right now. Over half a point, minus 110. I might talk myself into that one. You're muted, Ian?
There we go. I'll go to the John Leonard well one more time here for Detroit. You know, we've seen the young kid score a couple of times. So, like I said, definitely, John Leonard, pretty decent, second line there for the Detroit Red Wings tonight in this game. Emmett Finney started to heat up again. I don't mind that as far as a prop shot there. JVR has started to score. I mean, he had that incredible run, cooled off. Now he's starting to heat up again. Carolina on their side, looks like Logan Stankoven might be with Aho and Svechnikov. So he's the one that I would target from a value standpoint tonight. Yeah, Logan Stankoven for the Carolina Hurricanes on that right side, no doubt. Yeah, Carolina's roster, it's weak right now because of injuries. When they're healthy, they're not a weak roster. Not at all. But right now they are because of all the injuries, and it's a problem. And they've shown that there's issues right now with this team with all the injuries, especially holding leads. No doubt about that. All right, Ottawa-Toronto, Battle of Ontario. Ottawa minus 130 road favorites, 6 the total here in this game. The Leafs getting a much-needed win against Pittsburgh. That was that was a game that I was damn proud of, because it wasn't easy going into that Pittsburgh game right before the break to say, yeah, let's bet on the Toronto Maple Leafs right now with what we were seeing from them. And I said, this is the spot. This is going to be the time right now for this situation for them to get rolling. As far as getting off the schneid. You got Pittsburgh coming off the big Sidney Crosby excitement when they played the Montreal Canadiens before that, and he got the all-time points leader record past Mario Lemieux for that. It was an exciting night. Pittsburgh won the game. It was not the best spot for the Penguins coming off that, and I said Toronto played well enough against Dallas to beat them. The puck just didn't go in, but they played a solid road game against Dallas, just didn't score. And then all those goals finally started to go in. They beat Pittsburgh. Everything we bet we hit in that game. We had Toronto first goal, first period. We had Toronto, first period puck line. We had Toronto, as far as team total over 3.5. So that was great to see all those hit against Pittsburgh. I thought it was just the perfect spot for the Leafs to finally win and get back on track. Now do we trust them to put 2 in a row together? That's the question here. They did get Chris Tanev back against Pittsburgh before the Christmas break. Significant, obviously. One of their best shutdown defensemen, penalty killers. Obviously makes the blue line a whole lot better. So that was big to see the Leafs get him back in the lineup. But now they're playing an Ottawa team that's coming in here on the heels of a 3-2 overtime loss to Buffalo, which snapped a 4-game winning streak for them. One thing I can tell you off the top of my head is that Ottawa's made it difficult in Toronto for this Leaf team. They shut out the Leafs 4-0 the last time they played here. Before that, the Leafs did win in Toronto, but it took overtime to get there, 3-2. And so Ottawa's actually won 3 of the last 5 head-to-head meetings here at Scotiabank Arena between these two teams. So it's kind of been Toronto's won more of the games in Ottawa, but Ottawa's won a lot of regular season games here in Toronto as well. So I don't know. It's pretty tricky as far as the side goes for me in this game. I'm going to dabble with the draw. This is a draw that I do like. I think we have a chance for overtime here. The total I'm passing because I could see this being, going either way as far as over or under is concerned. You got Woll in net for the Leafs, Joseph Woll, and of course you've got Linus Ullmark for Ottawa. Everyone talking about Giroux. There's a lot of reasons to like Claude Giroux tonight. Not only because he's been starting to heat up of late, but he's absolutely done significant damage against Toronto in the past. And it's his 1,300th career game. It's a milestone game tonight for Claude Giroux. It's his 1,300th NHL game tonight. So milestone night for Claude Giroux for the Ottawa Senators, and playing a team he's had significant offensive success against in the past. So give me that plus 450 a goal prop here tonight for Claude Giroux. I think it's definitely worth a shot here in this game at that price, no question. So the milestone, the fact he's done well against the Leafs in the past. So I love that price. I'm going to mention it, let the cat out of the bag right now. It is one of my bargain bin specials of the night. Claude Giroux for the Ottawa Senators, as far as him finding the back of the net. Zetterlund, I think, still got value with Stützle and Tkachuk on the top line. For Toronto, he hasn't scored in forever. He was with, it looks like tonight might be with Matthews and McMahon. Potentially that could be your top line tonight for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I think Domi was moved up there late in the game against Pittsburgh. Why not ride the wave of Max Domi? That was an unbelievably beautiful goal he scored against Pittsburgh in the third period right before the Christmas break. So, definitely value with Max Domi. Now, again, this is a guy that's had a tough offensive season, but he is definitely a chance to find the back of the net here. A top line, value, a little confidence. You know what it's like for players that are offensive minded. They can't, when they're not scoring, they lose all confidence. They can't buy a goal. But then they finally see one go in, and it was a beauty goal at that by Domi, and all of a sudden the floodgates can open, and you get confidence back, and you're not gripping your stick nearly as tightly. So that's what we're hoping for with Max Domi. I think there's value for him scoring once again here tonight. Terry, what do you think? Battle of Ontario.
Yeah, first game since these two teams faced each other in the playoffs. So first meeting of the season. And I think Ottawa's the right side. Now minus 130, the line has moved a lot. So there must be money coming in on Ottawa here in this situation. But like the chat has mentioned, yes, give me the Leafs killer, Claude Giroux. I got his point prop at plus 120. There's just incredible value with that. Being plus money. Yeah, he's on the third line in the second power play unit, but 4 games in a row with a point, entering the break, 2 multi-point games, and 14 of his last 17 games against Toronto, he has a point. So this is a guy that loves to face the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Leafs have been really great at home this year, so they have a great home record, but this team has not been playing well. We've seen it for a while now. This team has not been playing well. Will the break help them get back on track? Maybe, but I have to see it first. I like the Sens here, and then Claude Giroux over half a point at plus money, plus 120.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, that's where I'm at. I thought Toronto, that was a great spot, great time to jump in with the Leafs against Pittsburgh on Tuesday before the Christmas break. I'm not jumping back to them here, and let's be honest, Ottawa's a better team than Pittsburgh. So, like I said, we'll see how they fare here. I do like the draw. I do think the draw is worth a shot. I could see this going to overtime. The game two times ago when they played in Toronto, the game did go to overtime. All right, Washington and New Jersey. I don't really have a lot here with this. We got New Jersey minus 120 home favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. Washington kind of stumbled a little bit going into the Christmas break. We'll see how they fare here tonight coming out of the break against the New Jersey Devils. The Devils, meanwhile, the good news for the Devils is before the break, the last few games we saw them get Jack Hughes back in the lineup, which has been significant for them. It looks like tonight going into this game, we're going to see Jake Allen confirmed in net for the Devils. We would think Logan Thompson for the Washington Capitals, though it hasn't been confirmed just yet on their side of the equation. Devils obviously, losing to the Islanders and Sabres back-to-back going into the break. 3 straight losses and 1-6 in the last 7 for the Washington Capitals. Back-to-back losses to Detroit, thumped by the Rangers of all teams. Very difficult to lose to the Rangers at home, but especially 7-3. So very, very I don't trust either team right now, quite honestly. It's two teams I'd just rather watch, see how this one unfolds tonight. So like I said, I think as far as this game goes, it's not much going to be not much for me. It's a pass right now. Nothing side-wise, nothing totals-wise. I'm not even all that enamored with the draw, quite honestly, here in this game. I'm trying to see if there's some props here that maybe I might look at here for this Caps and Devils game. But, right now, Protas is someone we've mentioned, and he did score last game for the Washington Capitals. I don't know if this is correct, but I'm seeing maybe Connor McMichael and maybe Justin Sordiff playing with Ovechkin, and if that's the case, with Sordiff and McMichael, there's going to be great value if that line combination on the top line stays true to form. Ethan Frank is actually someone that stepped up a little bit for the Capitals, so there's a couple you could consider. On the New Jersey Devils side, Cody Glass, Gritchick, and Brown, I think, has been a pretty decent line since Sheldon Keefe put them together, so maybe you look in that direction with one of those 3. What do you think here, Terry? Washington, New Jersey.
Yeah, this one's really interesting. So the road team is 10-1 in the last 11 meetings between these 2 division rivals. So home ice is not an advantage here in this matchup. And Washington's 12-2 in their last 14 in New Jersey. So I don't know what it is about the Caps coming here to New Jersey, but they completely dominate the Devils. Washington scored at least 4 goals in 7 of their last 8 games in New Jersey. And the Caps 5-1 in their last 6 after the Christmas break. I think Caps money line as a dog is a good play here. I've not bet it yet. I don't like how the Capitals entered the Christmas break. They were awful. I loved betting on this Capitals team earlier on in the season. They were a moneymaker for me, but they just were completely awful heading into the break. But this seems like if there's a good spot for them to bounce back, it's here in New Jersey where they've dominated the Devils. So I would look at the Capitals at plus money, and then I would look at props on that second line. Protas, Strome, and Ryan Leonard. Ryan Leonard was awesome before getting hurt, came back, scored 2 points. So I think he's a good look, especially in the power play. He's really good. Alexi Protas' point has value a lot of the time. And now Dylan Strome looks like he'll be on that second line. So I would look at that second line for props for the Caps, and then I lean with Caps money line. I think this is a good spot for them to get right.
I'm just seeing my live odds screen flashing, lighting up in the Boston-Buffalo game right now at the news that Jonas Korpisalo is starting in net for the Boston Bruins, not Jeremy Swayman. And I just see all the Buffalo money and all the over money pouring in right now as we speak. I see the 6s are getting wiped out, 6.5s are popping up, and Buffalo minus 120s are going up to minus 130, 35 in some spots. So there you go. No respect for Jonas Korpisalo. And this is every time he's announced in net. Every time I notice this, the money comes against Boston, and the money comes in on the over. Every time Korpisalo is announced in for the Boston Bruins. Although there were times early in the year he was playing okay. His last start was not pretty, though. Last time we saw him start, it was against Ottawa. They lost that game 6-2. But, yeah, there you go. Korpisalo being announced as in has caused a big move there as far as the Sabres and the over in that game.
One more thing I wanted to mention here, and Ian, sorry about this game. I'm not a big shots on goal prop, but Nico Hischier over 2.5 shots on goal. 4 games in a row heading into the break, and 11 of his last 12 against Washington. Nico Hischier has at least 3 shots on goal, so that's plus 136 for him to get 3 shots on goal. For whatever reason, he loves to shoot the puck against the Caps, so that's something to look at if you like shots and goal props.
All right, excellent. All right, Chicago and Dallas. We've got Dallas minus 350. Home favorites, 5.5 the total. Massive prices. Pretty much the betting markets have collapsed here on Chicago. with their struggles going into the break, with both Frank Nazar and Connor Bedard being out, and the record now without Connor Bedard, it's something like 3-12, and it's bad. Like we know they have a terrible record without him, and we see the way they've been struggling and losing games without him during this recent stretch without number 98 on the ice. So, look, it's not easy to put your money on the Blackhawks right now. This is a team that's lost 6 straight. It's been 2 goals or less in 5 of those 6 losses, not scoring goals consistently either during this stretch. Dallas enters this game off a 4-3 overtime loss to the Detroit Red Wings going into the Christmas break. So we'll see how they fare here in this one. Dallas won in Chicago. Actually, this is the first meeting this year between these two teams. Last year, all 4 meetings were early in the season, October, November, December. Dallas won 3 of the 4, including both meetings here in Dallas between these two teams, 4-2 and 3-1. We'll see if they keep that rolling. I will say this, though, with Chicago coming out of the break with 6 straight losses, and there's some semblance of desperation and urgency, and with Dallas being in this price range of minus 350, I got to admit I'm tempted by Chicago goal in the first period. We've talked about this angle with the bigger favorites, that sometimes, you're a little sleepy out of the gate. You struggle a little bit with focus, and maybe that's the case here. And you can get plus 100. You can get pretty close to even money with Chicago to get a goal in the first period here in this game tonight. That's all I would be interested in with Chicago. I wouldn't trust them for more than that here in this game. So we'll see that. There we go. Minus 300 plus favorites this season. There you go. Pretty good numbers overall. First period over 6-3, full game under 6-3, and the underdog has scored in the first period in 7 of those 9 games. There you go. So give me that Chicago goal in the first period. That's 7 of 9. We've seen the underdog, against a favorite of minus 300 or greater. We've seen the dog in those games, in those spots, score a first period goal in 7 of the 9 games. And desperation, coming out of the break. So I don't mind that at all. I think that's worth a shot. I don't trust the Blackhawks to win the game, but getting on the board in the first period, plus 100. And we know Dallas at times at home against lesser competition, they've had a habit of giving up a goal in the opening 20 minutes. So that's what I'll look at. Chicago, that's the only thing I really like in this game. I don't like anything full game, side or total, but I'll take a shot. Give me Blackhawks goal in the first period, plus 100. Terry, what do you think here? Chicago, Dallas.
Yeah, this one, the books are making it very difficult for me to get involved in this one. I want to back Dallas, especially after they lost their last game heading into the break. Dallas 13-3 in the last 16 meetings between the teams, and they've covered the puck line in 9 of their last 10 wins against Chicago. So Dallas has dominated Chicago. The issue, though, is that the puck line for Dallas is minus 130, minus 140 for Dallas to win by 2. And I cannot, in good conscience, recommend somebody to bet a puck line at minus 140. I can't do that. That's not something I would ever do. So Heiskanen assist minus 125 is a good look if you want to bet props. Jamie Benn, I don't bet Jamie Benn props anymore. When I bet him, his ice time seems to get cut in half. But he's been on a heater heading into the Christmas break if you want to take a shot with Ben. But I don't like the ice time situation with him. So in this game, Miro Heiskanen assist or pass for me.
All right, there you go. Good stuff. So that's like I said. I think in this spot, the goal in the first period for Chicago is worth a shot. Again, I know they're struggling. I know they're reeling, but it's a spot that makes sense because when you're winless coming out of the break, this is one team I think win or lose, you're going to get a pretty strong push from them tonight against Dallas. Now, being good enough to win the hockey game is a completely different story. But like I said, I think early we could see them maybe find pay dirt here in the back of the net early in this one. As far as props go for this game, I've talked about with Dallas lately, Jamie Benn's heating up 2 games in a row with a goal. I don't hate that as far as a goal prop option. Sam Steele, is still in a top 6 role for the Dallas Stars and could be with Johnston and Rantanen. So continued value. That Maverick Bourque, is someone I think might be starting to get not only a top 6 opportunity from Gulletson, but starting to make the most of it as well. It looks like more line juggling potentially for this game for Chicago and for Jeff Blashill, Bertuzzi, Dickinson, and Mikheyev on the top line. So a little bit of a new look group there. So the Trooper, Jason Dickinson, and Mikheyev on that top line, maybe a little value there if they're going to get that kind of an opportunity here tonight. All right, Nashville and St. Louis. St. Louis minus 120, home favorites, 5.5 the total here in this matchup. Pretty simple, straightforward look for me. Over 5.5 here. Predators and Blues. The two previous meetings both went over the total between these two teams earlier this season. Nashville's on a 6-2 run to the over in their last 8 road games as well. So that's something worth keeping in mind. Timothy Hake with a great stat. Preds Blues first period over 10 straight games. I assume that's head-to-head between them. Yeah, I mean, there's just been goals with these two teams. And plus, St. Louis gets 2 big-time reinforcements back offensively for this game. 2 very key offensive contributors returning from injury. Jimmy Snuggerud and Jordan Kyrou, both back for the St. Louis Blues here in this game. So like I said, huge for the Blues, team that's obviously not been scoring goals consistently throughout the course of the season. And now you get to welcome back Jimmy Snuggerud and Jordan Kyrou. And the one thing about Jordan Kyrou is he can score. He's not the best defensive player, not by a long shot, Jordan Kyrou. So you're probably better offensively and you're probably worse defensively when it comes to Jordan Kyrou being back in the lineup. As far as Nashville goes, it should be UC Saros, although it hasn't been confirmed. It will be Joel Hofer in net for the St. Louis Blues tonight in this game. So nothing on the side. This is another team, St. Louis. I'm waiting for them to go on a run. Maybe it's never going to happen. And I'm kind of waiting for Nashville to cool off. And I just get that weird sense with Nashville that maybe, just maybe, that incredible run going into the break, and maybe the break kind of stunts the momentum a little bit. Not betting it, but I'm just saying I think there's potential for that to happen. So I like over 5.5. It's my only bet here. Terry, what do you think here? Predators, Blues.
Yeah, this one's so interesting, an interesting game. So Nashville 2-0 so far against the Blues this year, but the Blues have won the previous 4 meetings. And looking at how these two teams come out after the break, Nashville's lost their last 6 games after the Christmas break, and the Blues are 5-0-1 in their last 6 games after the Christmas break. So it's been a completely opposite factor here for both teams. That being said, I can't take the Blues. I can't put my money on the Blues. They're just,
if you ask me right now, Ian, you have to bet a side in this game. You have no choice. It would be St. Louis for me, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah, exactly. I can't do it. Now, a good we talked about this on the show. The last show I was on, people were asking about parlays or singles. I'm normally a single play better, but this is a good same game parlay game. I would parlay the top 3 for the Predators: Forsberg, O'Reilly, and Stamkos. They're all on significant point streaks. They're all in the top line together. Plus 210 for Forsberg, O'Reilly, and Stamkos all to get a point. I think that's a good play here if you wanted to get involved in this game, but I cannot bet a side in this one.
Yeah, no doubt. As far as props go, there are a couple, because I do think we're going to see some goals, certainly enough to get to 6 for the over. Stamkos, 3 straight games with a goal. I'm sprinkling on Justin Falk. I don't know what's gotten into him, but he's scored in 4 of the last 10 games, 3 of the last 5 games, and he's plus 650. This guy's all of a sudden becoming a scoring machine from this blue line for the St. Louis Blues, but credit to him. So Justin Falk, like I said, has stepped up a little bit lately for St. Louis. Won't you be my neighbor? Looks like Jake Neighbors might be with Robert Thomas and Pavel Buchnevich on the top line. And I like another shot with Jonathan, I should say. The J is silent. He corrected everybody with the pronunciation. He made sure this is a request from Berggren that he be called Jonathan recently. So there you go. Jonathan Berggren on the second line with Shen and returning Jordan Kyrou. So like I said, I think there's good value. He's taken advantage of the opportunity to be in the top 6 for this St. Louis Blues team. So we'll see if that success continues. And I think there was one more for the Nashville side prop-wise. I thought I saw someone moving up the lineup here. Let me just see here. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. It's still Evangelista, Bunting, and Howla. But like I said, Evangelista, he scored a beauty goal against Toronto last weekend. Might not be the worst idea in the world to look toward him here. And he is on the second line, so he will get some opportunity here. All right, next up, we've got the Anaheim Ducks taking on the Los Angeles Kings. LA minus 135, home favorites, 6 the total in this game. What are we doing here? Like, really, what are we doing here with this? Get this bullshit Kings prices on home ice out of here. What are we doing? Anaheim, 100%, 1,000%. Anaheim Ducks, plus 115. Quack, 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 quack. I have nothing more to say. I'm exhausted talking about this fucking dumpster fire that is the Los Angeles Kings. I'm exhausted. I can't do it anymore. They suck. The coach stinks. They can't score. They're getting booed off the ice. You lose to a team that had lost 17 freaking games in a row on a back-to-back spot to Seattle right before the Christmas break. Ridiculous. LA. Think about that. The LA Kings have fallen to such lows that they lose to a team that had lost 17 straight back-to-back on the road to Seattle. Yeah, they're not going to lose it. They're 4-11 at home. I know eventually they're going to win one at home, but you're going to keep giving these overinflated, ridiculous prices to Los Angeles. I'm going to keep betting against them, period. Simple. Anaheim, plus 115. Terry, what do you think here? Ducks, Kings.
Yeah, Ducks are my dog of the day play today. Basically, everything you said is right about the Kings. They're just, and I'm not going to repeat it again, but they're just awful. And what happened from last year? Last year, this Kings team was so dominant at home, they couldn't win a game on the road. And then this year, right from the beginning, from day one, they were winning on the road. They can't win at home. So it's weird how that works. And we've seen it in the NHL before where that happens to teams in different years. So that just seems to be what's happening for the Kings. But this Ducks team, young, hungry, motivated, did not play their best hockey heading into the break.
Which I think is a good thing for Anaheim in this spot. I think they'll be ready to go. Yep.
Yeah, but they were not as disastrous as this Kings team. They lost a few games, but it wasn't to the extent of this Kings team. I love Ducks money line here, and then Mikael Granlund anytime goal is still four games in a row with a goal for him. Not sure if Leo Carlsson is back. It doesn't look like it yet. No. But Mikael Granlund anytime goal plus 410. There's just great value there with that.
Couldn't agree more. I mean, 4 games in a row with a goal, and he's plus 400. I mean, so yeah, that's a must bet on Michael Granlund. He's been absolutely terrific. Like I said, 4 straight games with a goal, and you're getting still, outstanding prices. Leo Carlsson, by the way, will keep an eye. He didn't play before the break. The hope from Joel Quenneville was he'd be ready to return possibly for this game against LA following the break, but that is not confirmed here as of yet. So like I said, we'll see how it plays out. It's we don't have goalies confirmed yet, but I expect it's Lukas Dostal for Anaheim, and I expect it's Anton Forsberg for LA because they have no choice. They got to put Anton Forsberg in there. Darcy Kemper is on IR, and there's no freaking way you're putting Phoenix Copley in again anytime soon after what I saw against Seattle. That was one of the worst goals you'll ever see a goalie give up against the Seattle Kraken in that game. Like, it's a simple catch of the puck, and he missed, and it's like he can't catch it. Puck falls out of his glove, somehow falls between his pads, and leaks through his 5-hole into the net. Like I said, it's a terrible goal. One of the worst you'll ever see. And like I said, if you haven't seen it already, go back to the Kings and Kraken highlights right before the Christmas break. It was brutal, terrible, bad as it gets for a goalie to give something up like that. Terrible. Yeah, so I like the Laferriere looks, though. Laferriere is with Kopitar and Kempe. He's had some success against the Ducks, so we're not all anti-LA. I can definitely sign off on a goal prop there as far as the Alex Laferriere here for the LA Kings, especially with him playing up there on the top line. All right, next up we've got Colorado and Vegas. One of the best games on the slate today, on paper at least. We've got Colorado minus 160, road favorites. Total here sitting at 6, shaded to the over in this game. This is a pretty expensive price. I get it. Colorado's a freight train, a machine right now for the Avs at the moment. But minus 160 in Vegas? This is the biggest home underdog Vegas has been all year, by far. That's the value's not right. The value's not right. I mean, I certainly am not running a bet against the Avs, but at this price right now, obviously, look, they won 6 in a row going into the break, 8-1 in their last 9 going into the break, 27-2-7. They've lost 2 regulation games all year. 2. That's it, out of 36 games. So, no, it's been damn impressive. But I will once again preface this by saying that on the road, they've been at least a little bit more susceptible. 12-2-5. They have gone past regulation 5 times. Both of their regulation losses came on the road. And, when you look at Utah, they didn't play great against Seattle. They did play great against Terry's Minnesota Wild, but I think they were ramped up for that. They lost to Nashville. They squeaked by the Rangers. They squeaked by Philly on the road. They lost to the Islanders on the road. So there's been some moments of a little bit more instability here from the Colorado Avalanche on the road. This is a pass for me. I mean, I still don't want to bet against Colorado, but it's not the right price. -160. I know Vegas may or may not have Jack Eichel again. We'll have to wait and see. The hope from Bruce Cassidy was resting Eichel going into the break so he'd be ready to rock for this game against Colorado coming out of the break, but we still have no confirmation if he will return to the lineup for the Golden Knights. They're still missing, of course, Will Karlsson and Shea Theodore as well, still out on the back end for the Vegas Golden Knights. As far as goaltending is concerned for this game, Blackwood and Hart are the projected goalies for their respective teams, although neither one has been confirmed as of yet. One thing that's interesting to point out, too, I know there's going to be a lot of people loving Colorado because they've won 3 straight in the series, and they're red hot right now, and Vegas has been not so great. Before the San Jose blowout win, they were not playing great. But Vegas has actually beaten Colorado 3 of the last 4 times here at T-Mobile Arena. Colorado won the most recent time they were here. Before that, Vegas had beaten them 3 times in a row here at T-Mobile Arena. So we'll wait and see. I will sprinkle on the first period over. It is a Vegas home game, and the first period overs continue to be great for the Vegas Golden Knights, especially at home. And I might wait just a few minutes into the first period to get a live over at 5.5. I don't want it at 6 with juice. I'll probably wait for a 5.5 live and bet a full game over in game. But I will take first period over because, again, the Vegas first period overs at home have been great. They cashed another one against San Jose right before the Christmas break. So the only pregame bet I got is first period over. Maybe look at a full game over in game. Terry, anything you like here? One of the games of the day in the NHL, Avalanche, Golden Knights.
Yeah, small sprinkle on the draw for me here in this one. I'm seeing a +310. I've just been thinking about it while you were breaking down the game, and I was leaning towards it earlier. But yeah, I'm going to pull the trigger here on the draw. 3 of the last 5 between these 2 teams have gone to overtime. Historically in this series, we get close games a lot of the time between these 2 teams. And something to keep in mind, of course, now some people won't care, and everyone likes different stats, but Colorado has lost 11 of their last 12 games on December 27th. So the first couple of games after the break have not been kind to Colorado, especially on December 27th. So I'm not saying the Avalanche are going to lose because of that, but 11 of their last 12 games, that's an interesting stat, struggling here on December 27th. I think this game goes to overtime. I think Colorado can probably squeak by with a win in overtime, but give me the draw around +310 in this one.
All right, Terry, going with the draw here with the Avs and the Golden Knights. Prop-wise for me with this Avalanche and Golden Knights game, we've talked about how Brock Nelson's been, pretty good lately for the Avalanche. So as far as Colorado is concerned, I don't mind that look either. Arturi Lehkonen, keep an eye on that as well. What else am I looking at here as far as I'm trying to see who's had good, who's had good success? Brock Nelson's also done very well head-to-head against Vegas in the past, but the other guy too, he's been a little bit quieter lately, but maybe he steps up tonight. Call on me, Valeri Nichushkin for the Colorado Avalanche. Big Val. He's had a lot of success against the Vegas Golden Knights in the past as well. 2 straight games with a goal for Tomas Hertl as well going into this game. If Eichel's out, that could mean, again, we've got value to Brett Howden as well, because Bruce Cassidy's been experimenting with him in the top 6. So keep an eye on that. If Eichel misses again, that could open the door for some value here with Brett Howden for the Vegas Golden Knights. All right, let's move on to the Battle of Alberta again. We just saw it before the Christmas break, and we are seeing it again, and it got pretty cantankerous, as it often does, between the Oilers and the Flames. We've got Edmonton minus 130 road favorites. The total here, 6.5 across the board here in this game. I'm very tempted by Calgary, quite honestly, here. Revenge game. They got blasted 5-1 in Edmonton earlier this week. I could see Calgary maybe returning the favor here at the Saddle Dome. Although Edmonton, man, their offense is humming. There is no denying that whatsoever. When you look at the Oilers in the last 10 games, in every victory, they have scored, at least 3 goals, and they've scored 4 or more in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of their last 7 wins. They've scored at least 4 goals. So like I said, they are definitely finding the back of the net right now. Oilers got the 5-1 win earlier this week. It is worth noting that one thing that does concern me about the Flames' lean, though, is the fact the Oilers have actually beaten them 4 straight times here at the Saddle Dome. So the Oilers have played Calgary pretty well here of late. But, Calgary, that game ended with a ton of animosity. We saw Klapka and Nurse going at it at the end of that game. It definitely got rough and tumble toward the end. We'll have to see who's going to be in net, because we did get Dustin Wolf and Connor Ingram in the first meeting earlier this week in Edmonton. It is confirmed Dustin Wolf will start for Calgary here tonight. Hungry like the wolf. I'm starting to see here that it could be Calvin Pickard here tonight for the Edmonton Oilers, which is kind of interesting for Chris Knobloch to change goalies, given that Connor Ingram was the guy that ended up giving you the win it was in net for the win against Calgary earlier this week, but might be turning toward Cal Pickard here for this start tonight against the Calgary Flames. I'm just looking to see. It hasn't been confirmed yet either way, but keep an eye on it. We don't know yet for sure, but if it's one thing I want to mention too about Pickard is, Ingram's played at least decently enough, because look, they beat Vegas and they beat Calgary in his 2 starts, that the pressure's kind of on Pickard right now. And the last time we saw Pickard, it was Terry Edelman's Minnesota Wild putting the boots a little bit to Calvin Pickard in a 5-2 win in Minnesota against the Oilers. So, pressure's on Pickard right now, because I'll be honest, when Connor Ingram steps in and wins back-to-back starts, suddenly it means that if you're Pickard, you got to come in here and get the job done, or else that could mean more opportunity to play and maybe a few more starts for Connor Ingram. And it is worth noting with Calvin Pickard here, his last 2 starts, no, in fact, his last 3 starts, he's given up 4 goals. He gave up 4 to Seattle, 4 to Montreal, 4 in his last start to Minnesota. So he hasn't been great. He has not been a stopper in that crease the last few times we've seen him. So that's what I'm waiting on here. If it's Pickard, I think I'm going to gravitate to Calgary here, and maybe Calgary team total over. Got burned with the full game over. Very frustrating. It got to 5-1 and couldn't get that last goal. I'm waiting for the full game over in game. Give me a 6 or 5.5 live. That's what I'm going to wait for, and hopefully get a 5.5 here at some point, because I think that could make the difference. I could see this game having a decent chance to get to 6 goals again. I don't know about 7, because we saw it end with right on 6 earlier this week in that 5-1 Oilers win in Edmonton. So I'm going to wait for that 5.5 live to bet the over full game. What do you think here, Terry? Battle of Alberta, part 2.
Yeah, you had your little rant earlier, and now I have to talk about Connor McDavid. I'm extremely angry at Connor McDavid. I bet his anytime goal prop on the last show, if you guys remember, and he recorded 5 assists and no goals in that game. 6 shots on goal, couldn't score a goal, had been on this great goal streak, but was unable to score. I'm not betting him to score in this game, which means Connor McDavid is going to score. Book it. He's going to score a goal just to get back at me because I'm not taking him in this game. I see it happen all the time. But that's my kind of thoughts there with McDavid. He's going to have a big night because I'm not betting him. Edmonton 8-2-1 in the last 11 meetings. The road team is dominated in this series. I think if the if the break had not happened, I think that the whole revenge factor for Calgary, I think, would be more of a bigger deal. But I think because of the break now, I think the Oilers keep on rolling here. So at minus 130, Oilers money line maybe in regulation. I think they take care of business here in this one.
All right, there you go. Liking the Oilers here to get the job done in this one. Yeah, as far as props for Oilers and Flames, by the way, if you're a Flames fan, based on what we saw last night, now I do think he's got work to do and improvement to be made defensively in his own end, but offensively, as far as skating, as far as moving the puck, and as far as shooting the puck, which we saw last night for Canada at the World Junior Hockey Championship. My goodness, if you're a Flames fan, start to get excited for Zane Parekh. Boy, oh boy, was he really good, for Canada last night. And of course, he is a Calgary Flames prospect. He actually got a brief look with the Flames earlier this year. Like I said, keep an eye on him. Definitely a situation where he's impressed. And for a team that's badly needing puck movers and mobility and offensive, difference makers from the back end, having a guy like Zane Parekh in your future, I know Flames fans are getting very excited about that, no question. But he had a great game last night in the World Juniors. All right. Props for this game. Hyman's gotten goals in back-to-back games. The Nuge, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins with goals in back-to-back games as well. Put Podkolzin and Roslovic flanking Draisaitl. I keep saying that I think there's some pretty good value with their props right now. And then for Calgary, they got Huberdeau, Frost, Coronado. Tell you who's been chipping in lately a little bit more. Blake Coleman has. Joel Farabee a little bit. Coronado's always a threat. So those are a couple players maybe to look at for Calgary. And like I said, I like the over, but I'm going to wait for a 5.5 and bet it live. All right, last game for this massive Saturday slate. San Jose Sharks, Vancouver Canucks. We've got Vancouver minus 130. Home favorites, 6 the total here in this game. San Jose didn't love the way they limped into the break. Remember, this is a very young team still. So there's that element of, have they overachieved a little bit to this point? Certainly they have. But didn't finish overly strong going into the break, losing 3 in a row against Dallas, Seattle at home, and then get absolutely pounded by the Vegas Golden Knights 7-2. Their last game before the break. We'll see if they can bounce back here. Vancouver returns home off a very good road trip, but finally lost their first game after the Quinn Hughes trade against Philadelphia. Final game of that road trip before the Christmas break, losing 5-2 to the Philadelphia Flyers. But still, 5-game road trip, first game home. And that was a road trip that went from December 14 to December 22nd. So it was a pretty solid, 8 days that they spent out east. Could it be a little bit of a sluggish start? And if you're San Jose, don't you have to come out flying here? You got 3 straight losses. You got embarrassed by Vegas, 7-2. We'll see. Demko is going to be in net. The one fear is Demko playing well. And Demko played well against Philly. I know he finally lost against the Flyers, his first start during this run, but he played well. And, he's been excellent pretty much since he's been back in the crease here for the Vancouver Canucks. That being said, I'm tempted by San Jose. I'm tempted by San Jose first goal, first period in this game. Coming off the shellacking against Vegas, Vancouver first game home off a 5-game roadie. Like I said, that I am kind of interested in San Jose getting on the board first and the San Jose money line. I'm waiting for goalie confirmations, though, because I'd certainly be more bullish on these 2 looks if we get Lankinen as opposed to Thatcher Demko. But like I said, I do think San Jose, coming off the 3 losses, start strong. And you've got the 5-game road trip, and, it's not quite 6-7 games. That's really the sweet spot. That's the honey hole, if you will. 6-7 game road trips, team coming home that first game, fade them, especially early. We don't have that here with Vancouver, quite that long a road trip, 5 games, but still not a great spot, in my opinion, for Vancouver. So I'm still very interested. San Jose first goal, first period, and Sharks money line. Terry, anything here? Last game, San Jose, Vancouver.
Not from a side perspective. This one's incredibly difficult. The Canucks they've owned the Sharks 16-2 in the last 18 meetings, going back a long, long, long time. And I don't really want to get in front of that. I don't like what I saw from the Sharks heading into the break when it comes to winning games. But I did like what I saw from that top line. Macklin Celebrini coming home to Vancouver. I think he's going to have a great game. But the value is Colin Graf, over half a point. I got it for plus 120. I'm seeing plus 117, plus 115. He has a point in 8 of his last 9 games heading into the Christmas break and 5 of his last 6 road games. He scored a goal in 3 games in a row. I'm on his anytime goal as well. I'm seeing that around plus 320. I think that's a great play as well. Just great value with it. You're not getting value with Celebrini, but he plays with Celebrini, and there's a ton of chemistry between Chernyshov, Graf, and Celebrini. So give me Colin Graf over half a point in this one.
There you go, Colin.
And
Graf.
anytime goal.
There you go. Yeah, anytime yeah, and I'm with you on that. Are you on the point for Graf or the goal?
The point for a full unit and then a quarter unit on the Graf or on the anytime goal. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm on the goal prop. You know it with Colin Graf. 3 straight games with a goal. Now the prices aren't as good now. It's coming down. It's not that 400-500 it was, when we first started, betting Colin Graf for San Jose to score when this run started. But you're still getting bargain bin pricing with Colin Graf for the San Jose Sharks. And again, plus 340 is the best price out there. You can also find it FanDuel plus 310, DraftKings plus 310. So like I said, still some good prices out there for Colin Graf as far as being able to find the back of the net for the Dallas, or sorry, not for the Dallas, for the San Jose Sharks. Max Sasson. Actually, I heard John Forsland on the Prime broadcast, Canucks Flyers, call him Max Sasson. It makes me wonder if he asked for a name change or a pronunciation change. This is like a pandemic in the NHL. These players that just ask for a pronunciation change of their last name out of the blue. But John Forsland is one of the best, not good, great, not good, great play-by-play guy. So if John Forsland on Amazon Prime with that Vancouver Philly game was saying Max Sasson, it's probably because he wants it to be called that way. So I'm assuming that's a name pronunciation change for him. But yeah, anyway, Max Sasson. I like, he scored in back-to-back games. Why not ride the wave? You can get a pretty good price there with him at plus 650 as far as his goal prop. So like I said, definitely something to keep an eye on there as he's found the back of the net here for the Canucks in back-to-back games. So I think that might be worth a look here as well. I mentioned Graf and Chernyshov. I'm stubborn with Chernyshov, but if they keep playing him on the top line with Celebrini, he's going to score eventually. So I don't want to be not betting his goal prop when he does score. So Igor Chernyshov one more time for San Jose going into this matchup here against the Vancouver Canucks. All right, great stuff. Shout out to everyone in the chat at the like button. We appreciate it very much. Great job, as always, by Terry joining us on this Saturday, filling in for Alex. Alex will be back on Tuesday, by the way. He's going to be returning home to Minnesota. I believe on Monday is when he'll be back, and then we'll get Alex back on the show on Tuesday. Tomorrow I'm going to do a solo show because it's going to be quick. I want to get it over with before the NFL gets going. So it'll be a quick solo show tomorrow. Perlo will be with me on Monday for the show. Tuesday, Alex is back in the fold. Matt Robinson should be along as well. And then Wednesday, it'll be Alex and Perlo in our New Year's Eve show. We will actually have a New Year's Day show because there's a huge card on New Year's Day for the first time in years. For many years, the NHL had just Winter Classic on New Year's Day pretty much. That was it. Well, now the Winter Classic is on January 2nd, and it's at night. And they've decided we're just going to load the New Year's Day slate with just a regular schedule of NHL games. So we will have a show for you on New Year's Day. And I think we talked about the moving the show times up for both of those days because I think we got day games for both of them too. Let me just double check on that. It was a while back that I know Alex and I talked about this. But yeah, the New Year's Eve, we're going to start at noon Eastern for sure. Yeah, I definitely remember we talked about the New Year's Eve show starting at noon Eastern. I think we're probably going to start the Thursday, January 1st show at noon Eastern as well. So, because the first game on New Year's Day is at 1 p.m. Eastern, and there are a couple of afternoon games. So, might do noon Eastern both days as far as New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. But definitely the New Year's Eve show will be noon Eastern time start. So keep an eye instead of 2. So just make sure you're aware of that. All right. Also, make sure you're aware of wizardsportspicks.com. You should be aware of it. We're only on a 118-91 run in all sports. It's been great. The all sports streak's been phenomenal. Number 1 handicapper on the website in NFL going into Sunday. I'm going to have I like the NFL card tomorrow. I don't, it's not going to be as high volume as it's been the last few weeks, but there's still a handful of good bets out there. We'll be posting the Sunday NFL card on the website later today. We've got NHL, NBA, college football bowl games already posted for today. Wizardsportspicks.com. Again, it's been a great all-sports streak the last 30 days, profitable in multiple sports. Make sure you check it out. And check out the Beyond the Lines video series every day on the Wizard Sports Picks YouTube channel. I do those videos Fridays and Sundays. Matt Robinson does those videos on Tuesdays. So make sure you check it out, wizardsportspicks.com. And, of course, check out patreon.com/iceguys. $10 per month. We are back in action on the Patreon page today. The Patreon card will be posted later today for the Saturday card. Sides, totals, player props posted each and every day on the Patreon page. Just $10 per month. And, again, you've got goalie charts, totals charts, all the bonus content as well. January will be the first month this year. We have multiple Patreon exclusive live betcasts per month. So get ready for that. Multiple Patreon exclusive betcasts starting in January. So another reason to get on board, just $10 per month. Your membership goes a long way to supporting the show and keeping it going long term. So check it out. Get on board, just $10 per month. Patreon.com/iceguys. And, of course, the Ice Guys store. It's too late. Christmas is over, but that doesn't mean you still can't hop over there and order yourself some great Ice Guys gear and merchandise over at the Ice Guys store. Check it out, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. All right, bargain bin special of the night and best bets coming up right after we hear from our great Ice Guys sponsors.
Wizard Sports Picks, featuring the finest handicappers in the universe. Sharp insights, trusted picks, and relentless results. We strive to help you become consistent winners. This is Wizard Sports Picks.
Royal Cannabis, where the kings and queens shop.
Thanks to all our sponsors, including Royal Cannabis. Check them out, royalcannabisshop.com. 20% off with promo code IceGuys. Robert, draws. Yeah, I'll reiterate draws that I've bet. Draws that I probably will add. I'll probably add the Rangers-Islanders draw. I mentioned I was on the fence there. I'll probably bet that. I am on the Ottawa-Toronto draw. I did mention that. I do like the draw in that Ottawa-Toronto game. And was there one more? There wasn't, actually. It's, like I said, it's a light draw card. Ottawa-Toronto's the one I like the most, probably. Rangers-Islanders, I'll bet that too. I don't entirely hate the one Terry mentioned, Colorado-Vegas. I could see maybe that one going to overtime. But like I said, the ones I like the most are the Battle of New York and the Battle of Ontario. I think both of those could be overtime games here today. But there we go. Shout out to everyone in the chat at the like button. And we do have some news items as far as lineup information is concerned. Leo Carlson, Uncle Leo, is back for Anaheim. He will play here tonight for the Anaheim Ducks. Terry shaking his head, though.
Well, because I really liked Mikael Granlund plus 410 when he's on the top line in the top power play, but when he goes down to the third line, I don't quite like it as much. So
I'm still riding it because he has scored in 4 straight games.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. I still like it, but
going to be minimized a little bit as far as the opportunity. That is for sure with Leo Carlson back, but doesn't mean he can't score. And it looks like Connor Ingram will start, which look, I don't blame a Knobloch for doing that. One thing that's interesting though now is this is a second look for the Flames against Ingram. Okay. But I believe this is the first time that a team is going to face Connor Ingram for the second time since he's, returned to the NHL here with Edmonton. So let's see if he can put up a 1-goal spot again tonight like he did earlier this week. I think it'll be a lot more challenging for him to do that here tonight against Calgary. So I'm a little bit more interested in that Calgary team total and money line split there. And like I said, I will bet a live over at 5.5 in that Battle of Alberta if I see it. All right, bargain bin special of the night for this Saturday slate. Terry, we'll start with you. Bargain bin special of the night.
Yeah, I have to go with the game we just talked about, Colin Graff. Plus 320, plus 310 at different spots. So just making the cut. I'm glad he still makes the cut. 3 games in a row with a goal, 6 of his last 9. He's been on absolute fire recently. Top line with Celebrini, who I think is going to have a big night. So I like Colin Graff. Anytime goal, plus 310, plus 320.
That's one of my 3. I have 3 bargain bin specials for this Saturday card. Colin Graff is one of them, plus 340 for the San Jose Sharks. Michael Granlund, Anaheim, is one of them, plus 400 for the Anaheim Ducks. So Granlund plus 400, Anaheim, Graff plus 350 for San Jose, or 340, I should say, for Colin Graff with San Jose. Just want to make sure it is plus 340 with Colin Graff. And it's the third one is the one I mentioned earlier, as Terry called him, the Leaf Killer, Claude Giroux, in his 1300th NHL game, plus 450 for him to find the back of the net here tonight against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Not only has he had a ton of success against the Leafs, but it's a milestone night, his 1300th career game in the National Hockey League tonight for Claude Giroux. So there you go. 3 bargain bin specials for me on this Saturday slate. All right, best bets. We'll wrap it up with that. Terry, we'll start with you. What do you like for best bet?
I'm going with Claude Giroux, over half a point. Great minds think alike, Ian. Plus 115 for Giroux to get a point. I think that's the best bet on the slate today. Ottawa, Toronto, there's going to be some penalties. There's going to be some power plays. Giroux is on the second power play unit, but he's going to have his opportunities facing Toronto. Huge rivalry game. And as Ian said, 1300th game. Give me Claude Giroux, over half a point, plus 115 for my best bet.
All right, good stuff indeed. Before we get my best bet, I want to mention Alex is in the chat. His bargain bin special, he posted it. Jason Dickinson, the Trooper for Chicago, plus 600. He looks like he is going to be on that top line. So, like I said, that is value with him to find the back of the net against the Dallas Stars tonight, up on that top line. And best bet for Alex is Boston, plus 115. This is the end of the streak, says Alex. The streak ends tonight for the Buffalo Sabres. According to Alex, they're liking Boston plus 115 as his best bet, looking for the Bruins to snap that Buffalo Sabres 7-game win streak. My best bet, I'm going to give you 2. We haven't had a show for 3 days, so I'll be in the Christmas giving mood. 2 best bets here for today, 1 side, 1 total. The total best bet is the Battle of Florida. Give me Lightning Panthers over 5.5, minus 130. I like it. I think they get to 6 goals. There's still 4 defensemen out for Tampa Bay. Florida's scored 4+ goals in 7 of their last 10 games, but I expect Tampa to chip in offensively here in this game too. So Tampa Bay, Florida, over 5.5, minus 130. That's my first of 2 best bets. The second best bet, you know what it is. We're fading this atrocious LA Kings team as a home favorite once again. Quack, 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 quack. My best bet, the last one before the Christmas break. What was it? Yes, Columbus, plus 140 against Los Angeles. This team can't be favored in prices like this at home right now with how bad they've been. Anaheim, plus 120 for my second best bet here for this Saturday NHL card. Great show. Great to be back. Terry, anything you want to add before we wrap it up?
No, it's been great coming on. I'm the fill-in guy for Alex when he's away. Of course, I'll be in the chat sometimes when I get a chance to. I watch the show a lot on replay, so not able to make the live chat all the time, but make sure to hit the subscribe and hit that like button. It always helps.
Good stuff. Yeah, no doubt. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much, and it's good to be back. It was nice to have the 2 days off to, decompress a little bit, get a little rest, but it is good to be back, and of course, good to have NHL back as well. And the World Juniors, nice to have that. I had the Canada team total over. I'm very small bets for me in the World Juniors. I would maybe look at a Latvia team total under maybe in Canada's game later today, just because everyone was talking after that win against Czechia last night that they got to play better defensively. They still gave up too many goals, so maybe they really clamped down on defense today against Latvia later this afternoon. So maybe Latvia team total under. There's just a lean for me there if you're looking for something to bet in the World Junior Hockey Championship. Great stuff. Hit the like button on the way out. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms. For Terry Edelman, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Saturday. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will be back tomorrow on Sunday, noon Eastern, for another edition of the Ice Guys.